Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. This morning, tonight, it's still dark, but it's coming daylight fairly quickly. Hold on a second. On this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, we have two American brandies. Pretty inexpensive products. Here is Hervé Superior Reserve. Introduced in 2019. I bought this in Prairieville, Louisiana. Probably not a place you've heard of. On United States Highway 61 northbound. It's a store called Hocus Pocus Liquor. So it is one of those few liquor stores you see in Louisiana. Normally you just buy liquor at the grocery store, convenience store, but this is brandy with natural flavors and caramel color. So it's bottled in Kentucky by the Founders Company. No website listing. They're telling you they're adding flavoring and color. I don't know why they want to add flavoring, but they do. You'll get a better deal if you buy the big bottle, the handle. Still, inexpensive, maybe $20. And this is Bankers Club. I paid about $22 for this at Total Wine and More. Bankers Club Select Brandy. I like that old medieval looking label. I'm trying to make it look like the old French brandies, but it's not from France. It's from somewhere in the United States, and it's bottled in New Jersey by Laird and Company. They bought this from another company called Kasser. Well, they bought the whole company, Kasser, from Philadelphia back in the 80s sometime. So there used to be a distillery in Philadelphia called Kasser, and they got bought out by Laird, and all the stuff was moved to New Jersey. And Kasser is probably demolished and have some new building there, or a new use for the building. Okay, like in Canada, there was an old distillery that they turned into like a shopping mall, event center. What was that distillery? Somewhere. Oh, it doesn't matter. All right, so we'll show you screen share. I'll show you. There's not much to show, but they do list. They do have a website for it. They don't say anything about it. There's 80 proof. That's it. There's no extra proof that I'm aware of. Well, of course, sometimes these liquor companies have things they don't show. But there's the Kentucky Straight Bourbon, the brandy, the black whiskey, which I also have, decent enough stuff, the gin, the gold and silver rum, the scotch. And all of this is sourced. They don't distill any of this in New Jersey. And in fact, I don't think they distill anything in New Jersey except for the Applejack brandy. And they have a farm in Virginia where they grow the apples. They said the Laird family company, they grow and they ship them up either after or before processing, and then they get the brandy, the apple brandy up there in New Jersey. But they make a whole lot of different products that are sourced. I think you can visit the place. I don't know if they give you a tour. There's the apples. You see, that's what their focus is. But since they're, kind of well known, they put out all kind of products. And I have products. I have the Four Queens 101 proof blended whiskey 101, and I have this Bankers Club brandy and the Bankers Club blended with. So they have a video on how they process it. It's interesting to watch. And you can go visit it. Like I said, I don't know if they give a tour. You just maybe have a gift shop or something. I've been to breweries where they didn't have a tour, but they did show. I went to a brewery in Alabama and I said, "Do you give tours?" It wasn't much anyway. No, but the brewmaster was like, "I'll show you around." He wasn't really busy at the time, and he gave me a tour. Explained all kind of the operations, and that was fun. My daughter enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. All right. Yeah, it'll be enough for sure. So Hervé, made a hiss. You see, when it gets low, it builds up fumes and it'll hiss. Builds up air pressure. Fumes, pressure from the alcohol. Yeah, I haven't really seen this around much, but like I said, it's here and there, but not exactly common. But like I said, this should stay without falling. It's kind of a low profile product, to say the least. But I think the last time I checked Hocus Pocus liquors, the price are going up $1. Yeah, they're about the same color. So does Bankers Club add coloring? I don't know. Got a little too much of the Hervé, but that little half a millimeter or a millimeter shouldn't matter. Sometimes you could feel one's heavier even if your eyes are closed, and that'll give it away, and I certainly don't want to do that. I think I could tell. I've done 3 taste challenges so far, and I got 2 right, 1 wrong. I think I could tell them apart just because of that flavoring kind of thing they got going on that might give it away. But that's what the challenge is about. And price doesn't matter here because they're about the same price. So the price is irrelevant. I mean, it's relevant in the sense that you have to buy it. But I mean, as far as the challenge, they're at the same price point. So that's what I mean. It's not going to matter. All right. Get some light on the subject. The reason I wait to turn on the lamps because it'll glare when I'm trying to show the product. You can't see it because of the glare. Sometimes it makes it difficult. All right, so here we go. Away we go. A very grapey smell, and maybe something else. Like I've said this to people, and I really am going to keep saying it. These brandies, to me, whether they're from France or Spain or Mexico or the United States, they smell like raisins. To me, golden raisins and the regular purple raisins, the dark raisins. Well, raisins are made from grapes, and brandy is made from grape wine, so that makes sense. First, they make the wine, and then they distill the wine, turn it into liquor. So you have to go through steps. Ferment it into wine, and instead of aging the wine, you immediately distill it, and then you age it in oak barrels for however long. VSOP usually is 4 to 6 years, but with this low price point, probably more like 4. And that's not a law, because I see that Paul Masson got VSOP, and they're talking about his age, or E&J, it's only aged 2 years. So they're both 2 year. I mean, the VS and the VSOP is both 2 years. I don't get that. They might be violating a practice, but not a convention, but not a law. And notice Bankers Club doesn't even use that designation VS, VSOP, or XO because it's not required, and they probably just see it as like a waste of time. They call it select brandy. Well, yeah, they selected it from somewhere and they bottled it, so that's correct. All right. Now, I don't know if this company distills their own brandy. All right. When I know that the founder's company is owned by Buffalo Trace, Sazerac. I know that because I checked that out. But it's just one of their divisions, which might just be an office in the hall, where some people handle it. I don't know. But when I went on the tour to Barton Distilling, another Sazerac company, Barton Distilling, years ago, we went in a rick house. A week after I was there, one of the rick houses collapsed. You probably remember that on the news, and one man was killed, unfortunately. But the girl leading the tour said, "Do you know what's being aged in this house?" And something told me brandy. I said, "Brandy." She said, "Right." She seemed like shocked. Somehow I had read something about that. She said, "Yeah, we age Paul Masson brandy here." Well, they didn't own it back then. Paul Masson was owned by another company. But they aged it for them. She said, like half the stuff we age here is brandy. Well, they end up buying Paul Masson. Sazerac bought Paul Masson outright. They brought the name, the rights to the recipes, and there was no Paul Masson distillery, really. I mean, there is a Paul Masson headquarters out there in California, but it's mostly an event center, like they were saying. They just, rent it to people if they're having some big production event, people with a lot of money. And maybe you could tour that place. I don't know. I think in California there is some specialty Paul Massons that you can't normally get around here. We just get the basics. The Grand Amber, the BS, the Grand Amber, the VSOP, and then all the flavors. But out in California, I've seen these heart-shaped bottles, very expensive looking. So, but that's, well, I don't live there, so I won't see those. And if I saw them, I might not like the price and just not buy them anyway. No, I don't get any kind of weird, I don't get any aroma over here, honestly. Just like a faint alcohol, like some generalized liquor. So I don't get much from it. So this one has better aroma and more aroma, but I still don't know what it is. Taste time. This one does not taste like it has flavoring, but that could be a deception. But it tastes like raisins. I keep saying it tastes like I'm drinking golden raisins, but with 40% alcohol. A little tannin, like, red wine sometimes, but these are usually made with white wine, but they'll have like that grape skin kind of bitterness like you get with tea tannins. It's kind of like that. It's pretty good. It's actually very good, assuming you like grapes. Now, if you say, oh, I hate wine, if your attitude is I hate wine, which of course you have a right to hate it. I don't like grapes. I hate raisins. Get that away from me. I would never want, but then you would never want to try brandy, I'm pretty sure. But a lot of people love grapes. You know how popular those are, and wine. Look at the wine. So yeah, it has an appeal. Now sometimes, same thing, golden, but this is all golden raisins and the tannins too. So, oh man, this is going to be tough. So, okay, they put flavor in, but it's got to be a small amount. They didn't, sometimes this company in Kentucky, and they have a distillery in Louisiana, but it's small. They'll go a little, well, actually, they go a lot overboard. It's like they get excessive with what I think is like vanilla flavoring. They just get excessive. But here it's not. So it just could be the slightest little tweak. Like they might taste it without flavoring and say, yeah, it's a little rough here and there. And they can taste all that. That's what they do. That's their job. Whereas I would not really pick that up. I'm not trained and I don't do it as a job. Although maybe I do it enough. Huh? All right. One more taste. Maybe this one has something sugary background. There's something there, maybe. See, it could be a mirage. It seemed like there could be some background flavor, but it's so subtle, it's difficult to pick up. If you just gave it to somebody and didn't talk about flavoring, and you can barely read it on the label right there, it's almost obscured. So, oh, and by the way, Hervé is the French word for Harvey. Harvey brandy. But Hervé is a French word. The roots, it's like comes from Latin, but the roots mean battle ready. Battle ready. Like you've got your armor on and you're about to go into battle in the Middle Ages. And they make this bottle look kind of like medieval, like chainmail or something if you look carefully at it. Well, that's cool. It is cool. It's a cool looking bottle. But and I guess it's ready to battle in this taste challenge. It is battling. Yeah, I like both. Do I prefer one over the other? Not really, no. And since the price point is about virtually identical, it's an approach conflict. Either way you go, you win, right? There's no downside here. You go here, you win. You get a flavorful, enjoyable, inexpensive brandy. Low price, good flavor, nice looking bottle. Although I would prefer glass, but they didn't have the glass. Here, they only have it in glass. There's no plastic. Well, maybe for little bottles, but the 750 is glass and the big handle's glass. This much I know. You say, wait a minute, that bottle looks just like Hartley brandy. That's right. Because Hartley brandy is made by the same company, although their labels say the Sazerac company. And they have the phone number on it. Here they say the founder's company and they avoid a phone number. I don't know what their reasoning is. And they'll say, like Legacy Distilling. That's another common thing they'll use. County Line Distillers, Wide World Importers for the Winn-Dixie brands. But then they do have the phone number. And they'll say Sazerac company on some of them. So I don't know. It's a real mystery. Sazerac is a mysterious company, I think. But it's private. There's no board of directors. It's a proprietary business. There's an owner and his wife. The man and his wife own it outright. All right. They run it. So however they want to do it, if they want to be secretive, fine. They don't disclose what their profit is. If they're making a profit, well, you would have to assume they are with all the stuff they're selling. But it's all in secret. Push play. Easy does it. Steven says, Ron, watch it now. So many bottles of booze. Unbelievable. Rocks glass and beer mug. I know. And you got to watch it. You got to cool it because you don't want a hobby that's enjoyable. You know, I enjoy the research more than the drinking of it. Honestly, I just love, because I used to teach history and I love reading about history. And it's fun to read about the companies and all their changes and how they make the product. And the tasting it is fun too. But I've seen other beer reviewers go downhill because what starts out as a hobby turns into a problem, and they go down, and then they're not looking so good, and then they disappear. So it's like fire. Fire is useful but dangerous. We use fire to cook whatever, heat houses, but it's dangerous. And alcohol is the same way, useful but dangerous. Jesus turned water into wine. So God himself turned water into wine to give, and even the Bible talks about God gave man wine. And I don't remember I don't quote scripture too well. I can paraphrase it because I read the Bible every day. But it's sort of like to give joy to the heart, calm the nerves and everything. And even advice in the Bible is to drink wine for your stomach problems, stomach upset and all. All right. But on the other hand, what does the Bible, Old and New Testament, well, especially the Old Testament, say about wine? It's dangerous. You got to, in the New Testament too, but it has to be taken with caution. Sensible people would understand that. I think most people do understand that. I was just talking about that. I thought I'd mention that because, yeah. I see people that drink craft beer by the gallon load. They're very swollen, big. I don't know. They don't look too healthy to me. Just guzzling that in a craft beer is so caloric. You know, it's like full of all this, and now they don't filter those beers. They don't filter it a lot of times. It's just full of the gunk. Is that really good to be? And like my friend David says, if they don't want to filter it, fine, but your liver is going to filter it. Your body's going to filter it. And you see these people with the big, it's like it's not a healthy look. And so I try to be very careful. And then don't go to the buffets. You know, people want to eat buffet food all and just load up. No, this thing is very bad. That being said, now that the sermon is over, although I don't retract that, I think it's very wise. A word to the wise. All right. So we don't have a winner here. The answer is whatever one you prefer. In my case, I prefer both, and I dislike neither. So it's a total tie. Availability, the same. Like you can't find it, basically, unless you just happen upon it. So scant availability. I'm talking about Louisiana. Now you might live up in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and it's in every store. I would not be shocked by that. We're probably on the very edge of the outlier, region of availability. Hervé, same thing. There was in a store, no fanfare, nothing. It may disappear as fast as it appeared. Might go away this year, 5 years, and it's gone. Wouldn't shock me at all. So the availability, even. The appearance, they both are nice labels, so that's even. The price is even, and the flavor, aroma, character, body, overall quality is even. So there you go. Now, can I tell them apart? That's questionable. And say, well, one's flavored and one's not. No, I didn't say the other one's not flavored. It doesn't say it's flavored. If you read your regulations, brandy can have flavor and they're not required to disclose that. They don't have to tell you. I don't care what kind it is. And I don't care how much it is. It could be a $300 bottle. They might have flavoring in it and don't have to tell you. So, I mean, I didn't make the regulation. But that is what the regulation says, okay? And I've had people get hostile with me, like, you don't know what you're talking about. I say, really? This doesn't happen often, but it's happened. I said, would you like to see the regulations? Would you like to see the regulation? And they tell me, I don't have time for your, what did they say? Your propaganda or your games. I say, it's not propaganda, friend. It's not games. It's a fact. It's like, it would be like somebody saying, oh, Harry Truman was never the president. I'll say, what are you talking about? Just look in the encyclopedia. I don't want to hear your right-wing propaganda. And I'll say, what are you talking about? It's in the encyclopedia or Wikipedia if you want to look online. That would be the same. It would be similar to that. So I do like to talk about the regulations because they are important to understanding the product. Same thing with beer regulation. Important to understand the product. I never could understand why all the old beer bottles that I collected and would buy never had an ABV on it. Never had the alcohol. They never showed the alcohol. You would have to get a brochure from the company and it would say what they were. They would send you a brochure, back in the paper days for the internet, they would send, but it was never on the cans. I didn't realize there was a law that beer could not show the ABV on the label until 1994, when the law was changed where they said now they can, or could have been a regulation in pursuant of the law, but they changed it to say you can show the ABV now. Not must show it, you're allowed to show it. And then all of a sudden you start seeing ABV on all the bottles, the alcohol level. Some cans and bottles of beer still don't show the alcohol level. It's not a requirement. It's just simply allowed. Now I think in Europe they must show it. Because when I bought every beer I bought in Spain and England and Gibraltar had the ABV clearly printed on the label. But that's their regulations. I don't live there. I visited once, probably never go again, but it was fun while it lasted. All right, anyway, I think this is the flavored one, but I'm totally not. And this one seems drier at the end. So I think this is the competitor, the Hervé. And it is. So that was a close call. My confidence level was very low. But I'm glad I got it right. So now I have 4 wins and 1 loss. 3 wins, 1 loss. Got it right 3 times, got it wrong once, and I'm almost 100% sure that I'm going to get it wrong again. Because Bankers Club is nice, but it doesn't really stand out unique compared to the other ones. It just tastes like tastes like raisins, as do the other ones. Craft Beer Tastic says Utah is really strict about their ABV regulation. Yeah, unreasonably strict. But I'm a federalist, and I don't believe in centralized power, which is always dangerous, as Thomas Jefferson and others talked about. But if you watch people that run for president now, they think centralized power is what we need. That they'll just say we need more power without limit, resting solely on the use of force is almost what they say. But in the old days, the days of the founding fathers and so forth, it was the idea that, no, you want to have decentralized power and let the states handle most of the problems. And so I would totally support Utah's ability to strictly and ridiculously regulate their ABV, their alcohol levels. I don't support the regulation. I say I support their right to do it. But that being said, thank you for watching. And tomorrow, Friday, I have another taste challenge scheduled for Friday, and it's another American brandy, another one from these guys who must have about 50 different ones. They are something else. All right, well, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye now.